Yeah. How do you grow production capability without a scaling framework? Uh, what do we mean by production capability? That is really my response there. Do you mean how do we build more stuff? Well, I mean, we can do what most organisations have done traditionally. We can just reduce the quality and not worry about it and just ship rubbish. But I'm going to assume you mean how do we release highly valuable, high quality products to customers with greater frequency, without scaling frameworks. Well, you don't need scaling frameworks. You can look at your product, you can look at your organisation. It can be structured in such a way as there is minimal interactions between the moving parts. You can do it. It is hard. It will likely require a wholesale reorganisation to achieve it, and that may not be on the menu. Okay, but if you look at how Spotify's gone about this, they have this concept of limited blast radius, the idea that if one particular team makes a mistake and takes their part, they don't take the whole product out. They might take a few teams around them, and they probably have a few difficult weeks of explaining what they've done and fixing stuff, and generally being picked on by the others for making that mistake, but they're not taking out the whole product. Right? So you can do it. But what most people are saying really is, I've got this group of people, I just want more of them, because there seems to be some sort of linear correlation between adding more people and getting more stuff, and it's just not true. What we know from human interactions and the research into how people work and how they communicate is at around half a dozen people, we're actually starting to pay for the cost of communication, and at around 10 to 12 people, the people that we're adding to any team, we need to pay for them. Then adding nothing, they're actually detracting from the other people's work. It's a really hard problem to solve because we can't have lots of people. So what we need to do is work with those few people we can have in a team and find out the best way for them to do their job. And ironically, it is by trusting them. Hire the best people you can find and trust that they are good at their job. To increase your ability to deliver without going to scaling, without adding additional teams and then inheriting the problems of scaling, the only way is for that one team to be better. And they can be hugely better, but the only people who can help them are themselves. So if you've got this quandary, you're likely in some sort of management or leadership position, and you need to be thinking about, how do we support those folk? Well, how do you give them the autonomy to discover? How do you let them find out what the best way is for them to be faster? And then support them in that journey. They are going to find things out. They're going to explore things. They're going to try stuff that does not work. And that needs to be okay. It needs to be safe for them to fail at every opportunity. And I don't mean that they can just go out and do silly things knowing it's not going to work. They need, as a team, to have a hypothesis that is reasonable and it stands up to some rigorous thinking. They know that it could be wrong, but they believe it's going to help them. And then they execute, they experiment on that one, and they will learn. They will learn that their hypothesis stood up to the test, i.e. it's helping them in the way they thought it would, or they will learn that their own hypothesis was invalid and it doesn't. But at least they're learning. So your role as that leader, as that manager maybe, is to provide the ability for a learning organisation to grow. People who are willing to try things out, experiment around ideas, and in doing so, yes, they're going to get things wrong, but over time, they are going to massively increase their ability to deliver. They're going to create new ways or discover new ways that other people have already created to solve problems. Okay? Your interest is not in them as to whether to trust them. You need to trust them. And if you don't, you have bigger issues than increasing your productivity. They need to grow in capability. They need to grow in competence. Okay? And they need to be able to flourish in that environment. Your role is to create an environment where they can do that. If you've got to this point in the video, I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, a like would be appreciated. If you want to hear more from me, more answers to questions that maybe you've got in the Agile world, please subscribe to the channel. And if you've got a question that you really want answered, drop it in the comments. I promise we'll get around to it. Thank you.